Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rhonda Pringle, Market President and Publisher for the Baltimore Business Journal. Welcome to the BBJ's 2020 Best in Real Estate Awards. By now, you've seen our picks for the top projects of 2019. We're so excited that we finally get to celebrate with you today during this virtual event. And we get to find out together who we selected as our Best in Show Project of the Year. During this event, we will also be revealing the 10 most outstanding projects that have really given Baltimore a boost and promise to move Baltimore forward as it rebuilds. This event would not be possible without the support of our sponsors. We want to take this time to thank our partner sponsors, Cascon, RCM&D, and Maryland Environmental Services, our association partner, Crew Baltimore, video partner, Media Star Promotions, and awards partner, Allogram. Now I'm going to kick it off to a voice you might recognize. Joining me today is our commercial real estate reporter, Melody Simmons, to announce our top 25 winning projects.
Thank you, Rhonda. As you can imagine, this is my favorite BBJ event of the year. The projects of 2019 really added to the Baltimore landscape. We've seen development take place from downtown to Pigtown, in suburbs and some rural areas where new industrial space took root. The development sparked growth and added to Baltimore's economic base, providing new jobs, investment, and lots of optimism. Here are the 25 winning projects.
The first up is renovation of the former Alex Brown & Sons headquarters downtown. Brown Realty, LLC, Brown Exchange Joint Venture, LLC, and Metropolitan Partnership. The sale of the Bank America building. Bank of America, Spirit Realty, and IRC Retail Centers. The repurposed redevelopment of Bathhouse Square in Pigtown. SAA, EVI, Mosley Architects, Bricklayers Local 1 of Maryland, Virginia, and DC, and the Reinvestment Fund. The sale of the massive Brandon Woods 3 Industrial Park. Chesapeake Real Estate Group, EverWest Real Estate Investors, GLL Real Estate Partners. Renovations to the historic Broadway Market's North Shed, and the addition of the Chop Tank to the South Shed. Baltimore Public Markets Corp., Atlas Restaurant Group, Plano Cowden, Pickle Studio, Captain James Landing. The lease deal for a Chase Bank branch in Cherry Hill Town Center. JP Morgan Chase, Catholic Charities, Whiting Turner Contracting Company, and Cherry Hill Community Coalition. Renovation and renewal of the Cross Street Market, Caves Valley Partners, Baltimore Public Markets Corporation, Cana Development, McKenzie Contracting, BCT Architects, Kimley Horn, Groundswell Design Group, and Younts Design. The restoration and upgrades at the central branch of the Enoch Pratt Free Library, Enoch Pratt Central Library, Gilbane Building Company, Buyer Blinder Bell Architects, and Air St. Gross. Development of the hall at Live at the Maryland Live Casino. Cordish Companies, Tudor Perini Building Corp.
Hi, I'm Jake Joyce, Chief Marketing Officer here at Live Casino and Hotel. On behalf of everyone here at Live, thank you. Thank you to the Baltimore Business Journal for recognizing the Hall at Live as a Best in Real Estate honoree. We can't wait to safely welcome all of you back to the largest theater of any casino in the great state of Maryland for those unforgettable experiences featuring the nation's largest touring acts and show-stopping entertainment. Thank you again, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
The Jordan Apartments, Somerset Development Company, New Community Partners LLC, Memorial Apartments Corporation, Mosley Architects, and Kinsley Construction.
Hi, this is Tom Liebel of Mosley Architects. We're delighted to see that the Jordan was recognized by the Baltimore Business Journal as one of the best real estate projects in Baltimore last year. I want to give a special thanks to the development team at Somerset Development and our project manager, Andrea Drake. Thank you.
L on Liberty, Housing Trust of America, and Filet Architecture. Liberty Harbor East, Bizzuto Group, Harbor East Management Group, Hickok Cole Architects, Stonehill Taylor, and Mahan Reichel and Associates. The lease deal with German grocer Lidl at Northwood Commons. Lidl, MLR Partners, MCB Real Estate, Northwood LLC, JP2 Architects, and Morgan State University.
Hello, my name is David Bramble. I'm the managing partner of MCB Real Estate. On behalf of the MCB team, Northwood Shopping Center team, and MLR Partners, as well as the various community participants, including Morgan State University, we'd like to thank the Baltimore Business Journal for recognizing our lease with Lidl at Northwood Commons in the Best of Baltimore Awards for 2019.
The Luminary Apartments at 1 Light Street, Madison Marquette, URS AECOM, Donahoe Construction, Parker Rodriguez, ADG, and Bizzuto Group. Improvements at M&T Bank Stadium, Baltimore Ravens, Gilbane Contracting, and Populous. MedStar Good Samaritan Hospital's new inpatient rehabilitation center, MedStar Health, Smith Group, and Whiting Turner Contracting. Updates and additions at the beloved Meriwether Post Pavilion, Downtown Columbia Arts and Culture Commission, Costello Construction, Design Collective, JP2 Architects, GLW, and Tarantino Engineering. The sale of the Morgan Stanley building in Harbor Point, Armada Hoffler Properties, KBS Realty Advisors, and CBRE Group. The Orsted U.S. Offshore Winds lease at Trade Point Atlantic, Trade Point Atlantic, Orsted U.S. Offshore Wind, JLL, and Baltimore County. The 21st Century Schools update and creation of the REACH Partnership School in Clifton Park, Maryland Stadium Authority, Baltimore City Public Schools, Ford Copland and Mock, Southway Builders, and MCN Build. Development of the Ronald McDonald House in Jonestown, Beatty Development Group, Harvey Coco Architects, Morris and Ritchie Associates, Whiting Turner Contracting, Kirk Design, and Harbor East Management. The Smithfield Foods lease by Stewart Properties at Principio Business Park, Stewart Properties, Smithfield Foods, Cecil County Office of Economic Development. Soakley in Old Goucher, Sava Koglarov, Lane Harlan, Matthew Pierce, and friends and family. The Stripe lease at McHenry Row, Baltimore Development Corporation, Maryland Department of Commerce, 28 Walker Development. The city's first Opportunity Zone investment at Yard 56 in Greektown, MCB Real Estate, Prudential Financial, and the U.S. Department of Treasury.
Hello, I'm Peter Pinkert, Managing Partner of MCB Real Estate. On behalf of my partner Dave Bramble, the entire MCB team, Prudential Financial, and our partners at Yard 56, we'd like to thank the Baltimore Business Journal for recognizing this project and accomplishment in their 2019 Real Estate Awards. Thank you.
Thanks, Melody. We're halfway there. And now, for the best of the best, drum roll please, the superlative winners. These are the BBJ's picks for the top 10 most outstanding projects of 2019. Spanning 260 acres, this first superlative project is the largest industrial speculative project built in the county. It has 87 dock bays, 4 drive-in doors, a 130-foot truck court, and a 257-space parking lot. Our Industrial Impact Real Estate Award goes to Brandon Woods 3 Industrial Park Building Sale, Chesapeake Real Estate Group, Everwest Real Estate Investors, and GLL Real Estate Partners.
Hello, Matt Laraway and Chris Murray here from Chesapeake Real Estate Group, and we'd like to, on behalf of all of Chesapeake Real Estate Group, thank the Baltimore Business Journal for recognizing Brandon Woods 3 as the best industrial park sale of the year. Every good project has to come with a great team. We'd like to thank our financial partner, Everwest Real Estate Partners, and our lender, Bank of Montreal, for making this project a possibility. It was the construction and leasing of a 500,000 square foot building to Best Buy and a 340,000 square foot spec building that has subsequently been leased to Amazon. There was a number of other groups that helped make this possible.
Also like to thank SAA Architects for the design of the buildings, Glenarm Building Company for the base building construction, CBRE on the disposition of the property, and our new partner, GLL, who bought the property and who we're currently working with on the management side.
Thank you to everybody that was involved.
Standing 22 stories tall in the upscale waterfront neighborhood of Harbor East is a mixed-use project with 282 apartments and 33 condominiums. The building includes 11,000 square feet of amenity spaces with an additional 21,000 square foot outdoor courtyard. Amenities include an infinity pool, dog park, outdoor movie theater, a library and study lounges, fitness center, and dining rooms with a catering kitchen. Our best residential project goes to Liberty Harbor East, Bozzuto Harbor East Management Group, Hickok Cole Architects, Stonehill Taylor, and Mahan Rickhill and Associates.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Patarakis family, H&S Properties Development Corp., Harbor East, and the Bozzuto companies, thanks to the BBJ for recognizing Liberty Harbor East as one of Baltimore's best. We are incredibly proud of this project and grateful to the real estate community for bestowing this great honor.
Thames Street Wharf houses this 263,000 square foot winning project built in 2010 by Armada Hoffler Properties. 9 years later, Armada Hoffler would buy it for $101 million, or just over $383 per square foot. The building is leased with Morgan Stanley and Johns Hopkins Medicine. Our Record Setter Real Estate Award goes to Morgan Stanley Building Sale, Armada Hoffler Properties, Inc., KBS Realty Advisors, CBRE Group. This project is taking place in Cherry Hill, a majority Black neighborhood that has never had a bank branch before, demonstrating that the company wasn't just talking the talk. Also announced was $5 million in renovations, including a new marketplace providing fresh food options for shoppers and space for entrepreneurs, and it will include an Enoch Pratt free library branch. Our Game Changer Real Estate Award goes to the Chase Lease at Cherry Hill Town Center, JP Morgan Chase, Catholic Charities, Cherry Hill Community Coalition, and Whiting Turner Contracting Company.
We are beyond excited to be opening our branch this September in Cherry Hill. I want to give a big thanks to the Baltimore Business Journal for this awesome recognition. We are looking forward to our long-lasting partnership in the Cherry Hill community.
A 26-foot heart sits above this new facility, symbolizing the warmth that is inside and offering children from birth to age 21 who have serious and sometimes life-threatening illnesses, as well as their families, a home away from home while seeking medical treatment. Our Community Impact Real Estate Award goes to Ronald McDonald House, Maryland Stadium Authority, Baltimore City Public Schools, Port Copeland Bach, Southway Builders, and MCM Build. This lease was considered an economic win and standout deal in a year that was otherwise slow for office leasing in Baltimore. The Baltimore Development Corporation worked with Stripe's site selection team and hosted a tour of the city to help secure the deal. Stripe subsidiary, Helm Services, Inc., plans to grow the office to have more than 200 employees by the end of 2022. Our Best Office Lease Real Estate Award goes to Stripe Lease at McHenry Road, Baltimore Development Corporation, Maryland Department of Commerce, and 28 Walker.
Concert goers can now experience shows in a whole new way with the addition of an innovative sky lawn that has real grass and can hold about 500 people. This addition was installed last summer. It's part of a 5-phase, $55 million renovation of the 53-year-old venue that also includes a new box office, updated concessions and restrooms, and a swanky VIP area. Our Most Creative Real Estate Award goes to Meriwether Post Pavilion, Downtown Columbia Arts and Culture Commission, IMP Inc., Costello Construction, Design Collective, JP2 Architects, GLW, Tarantino Engineering Consultants. It took some real vision to transform a pair of Pigtown buildings into what they are today. Construction finished last year on a one-of-a-kind 7-unit apartment building fashioned out of a former public bathhouse. In the attached former fire station next door, a new milk and honey market location is set to debut this summer. Our Historic Renovation Real Estate Award goes to Bathhouse Square, SAA EBI Development.
Hi, this is Tom Liebel with Mosley Architects. We are honored to have our Bathhouse Square project recognized by the Baltimore Business Journal's Best in Real Estate Award program. I want to give a special thanks to the development team of Ernst Valerie, Josh Neiman, and Chrissy Steptoe, and recognize our design team of Aaron Zephyr and Jamie Wallace. Thank you.
An overhaul of the 2 sheds of this historic city market wrapped up last year. The transformation was the latest chapter in a storied Fells Point landmark and brought a renewed energy and millions of investment to Broadway. The spaces are outfitted with trendy furnishings, outdoor patios, live music, and great eateries. Our Perseverance Real Estate Award goes to the renewal of Broadway Market, Baltimore Public Markets Corporation, Atlas Restaurant Group, Plano Pudin, Pickle Studio, and Captain James Landing.
And now for our Best in Show. Drum roll, please. After 137 years, the stunning architectural elements of this building were restored to their former glory. The renovation kept the beloved fish pond in the children's room, but added interactive toys and a 45,000-piece glass mosaic by local nonprofit Art with a Heart. The space was outfitted with new technology, services, and community space with a state-of-the-art audio and visual editing studio and makerspace. Our Best in Show Real Estate Award this year goes to Enoch Pratt Free Libraries Central Library Restoration, Gilbane Building Company, Buyer Blinder Bell Architects, and Air St. Gross.
Congratulations again to all of our honorees. For more about tonight's honoree projects, subscribers can visit our icons and find the April 22nd issue. For the 10 superlative honorees, you'll be able to find more on them in our recap in next week's August 28th issue of the Baltimore Business Journal. Now for a discussion that will give us some insight into what we might expect from the commercial real estate industry in the coming years. Please welcome BBJ commercial real estate reporter Melody Simmons and our expert commercial real estate panelists.
Thank you, Rhonda. And congratulations again to all our Best in Real Estate Award honorees. And now let's get on to the panel discussion. For more insights into the coming year in commercial real estate, I'd like to bring in a few experts. Sean Jordan, Senior Vice President of Leasing for St. John Properties. Michael Gaines, a leasing executive at Trout Daniel and Associates. Jim Lighthizer, Principal of Chesapeake Real Estate Group and President of the NAIOP Maryland Chapter. And Kristen Schrader, Business Development Manager at Harkins Builders and this year's President of CRE Baltimore. Let's get going with a question for all of the panelists. It seems like Labor Day coming up is another benchmark for some office workers to return to their desks. What do you see going on in the market today as companies begin to eye efforts to reopen? Michael, what are you seeing?
Michael, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I got to unmute myself. Apologize. Hello, everyone. I think it's interesting in these difficult times that companies are finding and realizing that they can work effectively remotely, and that even some employees are making the adjustment, and some even like working at home. And so I think that for the commercial real estate market, the future really is uncertain, particularly given the fall coming up. You know, the expectation that the virus could continue to expand, the flu this fall. Folks will probably rather stay home rather than take the risk. And so I think that really poses questions for office space, particularly companies, not knowing what to do. In fact, we're working with a company now that's looking at their space requirements as their lease comes up for expiration. They've been working remotely up until the summer. And now they're really asking themselves, do we need all of this space? And so I think it's, the times are uncertain and folks will be looking to become more efficient as they go forward.
And Kristen, I think what Michael just said is something that we're starting to see. What are you seeing at Harkins as far as the office market with some of these offices looking to reopen?
Sure. We've been working with a number of clients basically on budgets, to get their office to the 6-foot space. We were lucky at Harkins. We continued to work throughout, like I call it the lockdown, and in the field. And then, of course, we had to shut down our office completely. We came back to the office June 1st. So we were one of the early ones in at a 50% capacity. But again, our office was pretty much set up for the 6-foot space. And what we're doing now is we're working with clients to get their office to the 6-foot space with our designers, and making those modifications to the touchless entry, the touchless fixtures in the kitchens and in the bathrooms. Those have been the big ones now, getting those high touch points switched over to touchless.
And Sean, I see you're in the office now. St. John's back at work. You're back at work, but what are you seeing in the marketplace as well as at St. John?
Sure. So first, I never said I'd be honored to be on a pandemic panel, but nonetheless, I'm not sure I'll add that to the resume, and hopefully it's not something that comes in the future. But honored to take part here, and I would echo more of what Kristen has shared as far as following suit. That although we took a temporary hiatus, and those that know the culture here, that meant that I was still in a suit and tie daily, which was awkward on some of the virtual calls for a period of time. But I think everybody soon realized that it was, as much as we could keep business as normal was the strategy. We too were more of a quicker return to the office, but we did so in a fashion to which we tried to provide as much comfort to our employees, and that included, self-temperature checks, some of the standards that you hear. I don't need to belabor some of the fundamentals. We also rolled that out knowing our various asset classes, the single-story product, the flex product, single-story office, and single-story retail. They can clearly control their own worlds. So we try to be very communicative with each of our clients in those respective properties. But it was really the multi-story where we tried to have a very effective means of communication, enhanced cleaning protocol to include proactively upgrading the HVAC filters, to include antimicrobial cleaning. We enhanced enhanced cleaning in the common areas, added day porters, social distancing signage. You'll see, presumably, if you go to any of the multi-stories now, 3 to a cab, this stairway up, this stairway down. So we tried to do it in a prudent fashion, knowing that we were considered effectively an essential business, as were many, many clients within our portfolio. So our key was to how do we follow guidelines, but also allow people to get back to business as efficiently and as effectively and safely as they possibly could.
Thank you, Jim. I know you have some perspective, working with Chesapeake and also with NAIOP. Talk a little bit about what you're seeing.
Well, thank you for having me. And yeah, it's a tale of two worlds. As Sean and Kristen pointed out, a number of companies have put in place systems that will protect people and yet get people back to work. So we're seeing a lot of companies that are in that mindset. We're seeing a number of other companies that are still absolutely remote with no plans to get back to work. The technology industry, you've had companies like Facebook and Twitter come out and say that they really want to stay remote, and they think that's going to be the way of the future for a long time, up to like 10 years. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, forgive me if you read it, but I want to quote, Amazon is among a number of companies that have come to see things differently, while many corporate executives were pleasantly surprised with how quickly their workforces adapted to unprecedented circumstances. Many have come to see some of the downsides of remote work, including challenges with training new workers, barriers to collaboration, energy, and lengthier timelines for some projects. So Amazon's recently made a commitment to lease 900,000 square feet in 6 different cities, and they're clearly making a big push to get people back into the offices when it's safe and under certain circumstances. So really a tale of two worlds out there.
That said, Jim, I'm wondering if you're seeing some new industries possibly, cropping up, sanitizing offices, also ensuring worker safety. What's going on at the grassroots level in some of these office buildings in the industry today to try to get those offices back open?
Yeah, it's been pretty cool how quickly those industries came to the rescue. I know that our company, we manage about 5 million square feet, a mixed industrial, retail, and office portfolio. And we've been, initially, I think there were some companies that were taking advantage of the urgency, but now we've got a list of vendors that are doing all the things that our customers want. And it's been pretty quickly received, speed to market. So no doubt about it. I think the country and commercial real estate owners have quickly put in places that are keeping the tenants happy.
Kristen, I know that you're right in the thick of it, and the past 6 months, nobody could have predicted what happened. How about the pivot here? Talk a little bit about how you've had to pivot, to try to make an adjustment in real time.
Sure. I'm going to take that from the business development stance and also from Crew Baltimore and what we've done to pivot. I think I'm super proud of my crew really for pivoting to an online platform as fast as they did. We got into a situation where everybody was asking a lot of really important questions regarding what happens when people don't pay their lease. What are we doing about commercial cleaning? What are the new cleaning protocols? And so we implemented a weekly webinar where we reached into the Crew Baltimore network and found our members who had the answers and put out free webinars for everybody. So that was a good pivot. And also for our chapter to continue doing business development and networking with each other. We were on a Zoom platform where everybody could see everybody, their names were there, their companies were there. And, the first couple were a little awkward. And then after we got used to it, we realized it was a really good platform for networking because you're really forced to pay attention more so than you do in a networking room where you immediately walk in and look for your friends. So, and I was fortunate to, still fortunate to meet new people every day. As far as pivoting business development wise for Harkins, everything's in the virtual space, just like everything else. I mean, we're setting up team meetings, getting a little glimpse into people's personal lives a little bit more, like what's on the wall, what kind of art do they like. So it's, you make the best of it, really.
Michael, I think what Kristen said really is what we're seeing as well every day. A lot of cooperation and a lot of collaboration among industry that really competitors. Everybody's trying to help each other out. Are you finding that, as a kind of a coping mechanism to get through this first phase of COVID?
Yeah, we're actually seeing the utilization of technology really serving to benefit the industry, and particularly for those of us who are always on the road in the real estate business. It seems like we're constantly on the road, and so we've in the past had to make use of technology to stay in touch with clients or to be in touch with the office. And so this period, of adjustment has facilitated that even more. Being able to work from home, having the access to technology that works is great when it works, and when it doesn't, we know that it really hampers our business. But yeah, we've seen a pivot. Number of the folks in our office are in the office more regularly. Many of us still find a need to be at home and reduce the risk. But, we're finding that even with our clients, their adjustment, we can see sort of a managing for the circumstances and being able to survive, tighten the belts, be creative with respect to how they conduct business. And frankly, it's very rewarding knowing that people are not simply just giving up and rolling over, but fighting their way through to make it work.
I think, Sean, I wanted to ask you about that resilience that Michael talks about. How are you finding the offices reopening that St. John has leases with, your retail and your office and your flex space? How many workers have come back, and what's the feeling? What's the attitude you're seeing out there right now? This is the shock troops that are going back into work.
No, thanks, Melody. And as I mentioned, it's probably important to understand for us, or at least to articulate, asset class really does matter here for us as far as the whether it be retail, single story office flex, or the multi-stories. For us, as far as the best gauge of who's back in the office is really just driving around and looking at your parking fields. That's a pretty easy indicator without doing a head count, which we just wouldn't have access to as far as who's in what office. I would say, as Kristen shared, that there was many companies early on who were deemed essential and found ways to safely work collaboratively in the office, partially remote, and then get back into the office. And then now that the retail world is back, the reality is it's tough times for a lot of these folks. And as much as remote work has its function, there are certainly businesses that just cannot have success unless they're physically delivering a product, manufacturing a product, serving or in the service industry. So I can't share I have exact metrics. I would say in the multi-story, an observation would be maybe some of the larger corporations are putting together, presumably from a governance perspective, what their edict will be as far as returning back. But I would say a lot of the smaller folks that are needing to continue with their operations and get through these trying times are doing everything they can to get back into the office. And I would segue back to what Michael shared as far as this sense of resilience and collaboration. If I go on a bit of a tangent, I would say that is absolutely the case. I would say I see that from peers. I see that from for us. I would say I'm more communicative with my internal team as well as with, we always try to be tied in with the brokerage community, but it's at a different level. It's asking, it's sharing ideas. It's not necessarily just trying to get the deal done, but it's trying to understand trends. And there's folks like Jim at who's leading NAOP and Kristen who's leading Crew and BOMA. There's just a tremendous amount of information that's coming out that we'll all look and say, okay, what are the best practices? How do we take these best practices, implement them so we can do everything we can to keep things moving, and most importantly, provide a safe, effective environment where our clients can get back into the buildings and do what they need to do.
Right, that's so important. And I'm wondering about the economics of all this. As landlord and as property managers, Sean, tell us a little bit about how that's coming along. That's really tough. A lot of these tenants are unable to pay rent. They're looking for abatements. What are you seeing on the street out there?
Yeah, I would say for, I guess to flip to a positive, when you look at activity for us, it would really be the main indicators, and it's really for anybody in the development world or that owns real estate, is going to be the volume of your proposals. The volume of your showings. So when are folks coming to tour your buildings, and then how does that result in the success of having leases? So clearly, mid-March, we were off to a great start. Things started to slow. April, we really hit a trough. And if we look at statistically as we track these things, we're in a true V here and now. I have no crystal ball, nor I will guess where the world goes, because I think there's so many unknowns as far as how this plays out. But when I just look at raw data, it would indicate that June and July for both showings as well as leases were right on par with prior years. August also, at the 20th of August, seemed to be heading in a positive direction at this point. Many factors involved there. We had PPP monies, we had all sorts of other things. And so what directly caused that? Perhaps it was some demand related issues. Perhaps it was a confidence back to getting into the community and getting deals done, et cetera. But nonetheless, I would say optimistic in at least how those statistics are showing currently. And as it pertains to working with our clients, effectively every scenario is different. Anybody that has reached out to us, we understand the times are trying, and we've communicated back and just try to work through issues and meet, just work through issues with each of our clients.
Perfect. Jim, I wanted to ask you, NAIOP related. I know that there's a lot of data gathering that NAIOP does, a lot of surveys. They're really reaching out across the nation. And I know NAIOP Maryland is also reaching out to its members. What Sean just described to us is kind of a work in progress, and there's a lot of empathy and understanding among everybody. What are you hearing from the NAIOP group and your brokers and the marketing people in the field?
So what I can tell you, Melody, is that, the national NAIOP surveys are telling us along the lines of what I think Sean just said. We're seeing industrial tenants paying rent, in the high 90 percentile. Office companies across the country, depending on the source, but surveys are saying somewhere in the 90 to low 90s. And then in retail, of course, depending on the circumstances, somewhere in that 70%, and going up in the states where they're allowed to have some opening of business. So depends again on the asset class for sure in terms of their ability to conduct their business. But I think it's been surprising to us how many companies are paying rent. And across the board, the feedback that we're getting from the brokerage community is that there's no distress in the market. We're not seeing companies subleasing space. We're not seeing them talk about contracting. I'm not hearing any people who seem to be hitting the pause button. There's definitely a lot of frozen behavior out there, particularly in the office space. But I don't think there's any distress. People are definitely, look at the S&P 500. It's at an all-time high. Investors are very bullish, and I think we're seeing a lot of cautious optimism out there.
Michael, talk a little bit about some of the tours. I know that in-person tours are down. What are you doing to compensate to show some of your properties and to lease them out? You do a lot of retail, don't you?
Yeah, Trout Daniel does a lot of retail. In fact, our 40-year history has its foundation in retail, and so we continue to focus on retail as a major sector, and you've had to get creative. You maintain your 6-foot distance, you wear your mask, but it's important to get out and show property. I had a showing of retail space in Northwest Baltimore County, and the broker for the property didn't show up, but gave us a access to the property through a lockbox, which is always helpful, and we were able to get the showing done. Turns out the prospect that we were working with decided to put an offer in on that property, and so in order to get deals done, you've got to sort of push through and make the showings, or some companies are using technology and able to show property online, which is helpful. But what we're finding is that prospects and clients really do make decisions after having seen the property face to face. That's when you really make your decisions.
Kristen, I know at Harkins, you might be seeing some of the pause button as well. And what can you tell us about your plan for the next 6 months to a year, to kind of work around that or work with it?
Well, thank goodness at Harkins we're pretty diverse. We work from the suburbs of Philly down to South Carolina, so we've got thank goodness we're as diverse as we are. As far as my world in the commercial, we do a lot of tenant interior fit outs, and we have seen the pause button been hit on those office renovations, because leases have been extended. But we are anticipating a very busy 2021 when the extensions start to come to an end and people just make a decision on what they want to do, whether they need less space, whether they need more space, whether they're going to stay put and just do renovations in their office space. But right now we're lined up for a pretty busy 2021 in that arena. We have seen, we do industrial projects. Our industrial projects are moving forward. Our self-storage projects are moving forward. So anything that was already in the works is still moving forward. We've seen a lot of lab space come out for bid lately, and medical renovations. So, I mean, because we're diverse, we just jump into the next one that's got work coming up, and when the office renovations come back, we'll start on those again as soon as they do. So.
And Jim, I wanted to circle back with you on the industrial market. It's red hot, as we know. It really hasn't skipped a beat at all during this. In fact, it's grown. And I'm hearing that investors are scarfing up land as much as they can under a just-in-case scenario that shows that they want to have that investment of the property, just in case there is an expansion. Talk a little bit about this market and where it might go in Maryland. The prices are still good, so the state is really on the move.
Well, what's really interesting before I talk about Maryland is the feedback that I've been getting across the board from our NAIOP partners, members, is that, what we're seeing is an increase in activity, leasing activity, and values in the center parts of the country. The gateway coasts have always gotten the attention for having the 4% cap rates and all of the real hot growth and, the limited amount of inventory, the barriers to entry, and where most of the people live. But the brokers, have given me some examples of record pricing across the Midwest and a lot of leasing activity. Amazon itself, depending on the source, has leased somewhere between 50 and 60% of all the absorption across the country. So they've taken a very, very bullish approach, in terms of their taking advantage of the changes in the consumer's habits with the trend, expediting the movement to the e-commerce side. And so in Maryland, it's no exception. We do have a lot of demand, capital. I don't know. I mean, I would say that there's been a continued trend towards institutional capital having a tolerance for permitting and construction and leasing risk. First it was they would take some leasing risk, then they would take construction risk. Now they're even taking permitting risk. So we've moved a long way in the last 5 years, because 5 years ago they wouldn't do any of the above. So yeah, it's really changed quite a bit with the capital markets. There's just nothing in the pipeline. There's very little under construction. It takes you 2 years to get a permit at best, maybe 3 or more. So people realize that, tenants realize that, they're getting out into the market, 2 years before their lease was up. My first 16 years as a broker at CBRE, it was funny. We knew companies never came out and looked at space until they were within 6 months of their lease expiring, usually maybe 3 or 4 months. So it's changed an awful lot in the last 15 years. And, I continue to change because, well, 2 reasons. One, there's just not available land, at least not zoned and currently, permitted. And 2, this market's going to keep growing. The demographics are strong, the fundamentals are strong, and I think everybody, in this world that we live in feels good about the Baltimore, Washington market.
Sean, I wanted to come circle back with you as well on St. John and the expansion that Jim just talked about, the permitting issues and the delays and the cost in Maryland a little bit. And I think St. John is moving out of state. It's looking outward. It's looking westward to expand. Talk a little bit about that expansion itself. This is a Maryland-based company, a blue chip company, and where can you go from here, and what can you offer certain other markets in the
Sure.
Midwest and the Southwest?
Sure. Well, clearly our headquarters is Baltimore based, so this has historically been our core, and we have every intention of continuing to grow. If I put on my acquisitions hat as well, to continue to grow regionally, locally here, no doubt about it. We are now in 8 states, and another means and a very high focused element of growth for us is what we call our regional partners. And in an effort to become a regional partner, it's a 4-year training program that we've at St. John started years ago, and it now has become more formalized and lengthier as the industry and the business has become more sophisticated. That we'll bring an individual in, we'll train them in every facet of what we do, given the vertical integration of the company, and then at the end of those 4 years, collectively we'll select a new market to entertain. Most recently, we entered the Utah market, have been very fortunate there to have picked a good market and having great success, and that will continue to be the evolution here. Sometimes I'm looking for help to train my folks. I think they're soon going to outnumber me here, at least in the leasing side when they spend time here, but it's a very talented group of individuals. But Melody, you're absolutely right. That is we're very focused on growth. We at 20 million square feet. Next year will be 50 years in business, and it has every intention for us to continue to scale and grow the portfolio.
Michael, I wanted to ask you about this Southern Streams project in East Baltimore. You're working on that and focusing on that. This is a local, grassroots, community-based project, which has so much importance to this little community. It's also a candidate for an opportunity zone funding. And so between the larger scale, the industrial market, which is red hot, and now this mixed use development in East Baltimore, talk a little bit about the impact of Southern Streams. Tell us what it's all about and what it can do.
Excuse me. The Southern Streams project in East Baltimore, the Broadway East community, is a critical part of what has become a $53 million comprehensive revitalization and redevelopment project led by several churches in East Baltimore. And Southern Streams itself is a development sponsored by the Mary Harvin Community Development Corporation, which is an association with Southern Baptist Church. Projects like this in communities like this need great leadership, and this project has great leadership in Pastor Dante Hickman. Very smart, very tenacious, will not take no for an answer, because he and folks like him, developers like him, understand that communities like this in East Baltimore require that kind of leadership. And so they are planning to build a health and wellness center, 120,000 square foot building that will anchor the redevelopment of a large part of East Baltimore, which will include multifamily apartments, food market, retail along North Chester Street, and really serve to spur future development and job growth in this community. One of the reasons they're able to move the project forward is that Johns Hopkins Medicine has committed to a little over 20,000 square feet of space in the building. Johns Hopkins, in partnership with Southern Baptist and Mary Harvin, recognize that it takes an institutional partner to make some of these projects go. And so Pastor Hickman has leveraged a number of funding sources, including pursuing an opportunity fund financing as part of his capital stack. And so we're working with them to identify other tenants that will complement the Hopkins medicine component. And these will be folks in physical therapy, dental, vision, folks that will serve the community, behavioral health services. And so we're excited to be working with them. We expect to break ground early next year, both on the Health and Wellness Center and the Southern Views apartments.
Thank you. That's so important to the community, and it shows the scope of real estate, really large, small, national, local. I wanted to give the last question to Kristen because she's president of CRE Baltimore this year. It's an important group of professional real estate women. You touched a little bit before on the importance of working together through this crisis of COVID, and also everybody trying to mentor each other and help each other through. I was wondering if you could talk to us about CRE itself and what this kind of collaboration has meant to keep going at this time.
Sure, thank you. This is my 10th year in CRE, and of course, I'm the president this year of a networking organization in a virtual space. So it was really important to me to drive that community and make sure that when I address CRE, I call them my family. I feel like I've gotten closer, and I know a lot of my members will say this as well, that they just feel like they've gotten closer through this. We've been, we started out with our weekly conversation over coffees, where they were just an open platform to ask questions, and then we would have a Thursday happy hour where it was just informal, like, what's going on, what do you want to get off your mind, what do you want to vent about. And it's really been just a great platform, just to come together and realize that we're all going through this together, and we all have something that we need to talk about and figure out. So we also launched Crewmates this year, which is CRE Baltimore's mentoring program. It's a group mentoring program for professional development, for goal setting, and career advice. So that was a great launch this year, that we were all put into just a group of people. Of all different levels, of all different experience. And we do have men in CRE as well. So I know I had a male counterpart in my group. And it was helpful to, again, just talk about, okay, where are we going in all of this? What's next? What are you seeing? And then on the network level, CRE Network launched CRE Cares. In the Baltimore chapter, I think we only had 3 women that were furloughed, and they all went back to work, I think within a month or 6 weeks. So we were very fortunate to have a strong jobs market here. But across the country, there were a number of women that lost their jobs or got laid off. So we launched CRE Cares, which is a career development network, and it was pivoting, learning how to network yourself in the virtual space, interviewing in the virtual space, and just general career career development and advice. So it was, we as a group, we're a global organization now. We're in the UK, also in Canada. We're opening chapters in Mexico and Asia. And as a group, we all came together to help one another out. So it's been a rewarding year, despite it being virtual.
Thank you so much. It's so important to hear. I know I want to wrap it up. I want to thank this panel for all of their expert advice. We could go on for another hour, but I think next year's real estate awards are going to reflect a lot of determination, a lot of grit, and certainly optimism for what we're going through right now. But I think what the message we've heard today is that everybody's in it together and working together in this industry. So it is optimistic, and I know that down the road, it's all going to pay off. Thank you so very much for being on the panel.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you to Melody and our panelists, Sean, Michael, Jim, and Kristen. Thank you to our sponsors, CastCon Inc., Maryland Environmental Services, and RCM&D. To our video partner, Media Star Promotions, and to our award partner, Allagram. And thank you for joining us to celebrate these amazing Baltimore projects. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.